Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
Today we're going on a trip around the world.
Sounds fun.
But don't worry, you won't need your passport for this one,
Go good.
because we're going to be exploring the incredible world of biomes. You know, those unique ecosystems that make our planet so incredibly diverse?
That's right.
And hey, AP environmental science students out there, listen up,
Yeah, this one is for you.
because understanding biomes is going to be super important for those exams.
Huge help.
But even if you're not studying for the AP exam,
Right.
biomes are just fascinating in their own right.
Yeah, they really are.
Okay, so let's start with the basics.
Okay.
What exactly is a biome anyway?
Well, think of biomes like Earth's neighborhoods.
Okay.
Each one has its own, characteristic climate and dominant types of plants.
Oh, interesting.
And it's the plants that really define the biome.
Oh, how so?
Well, they kind of create the foundation for the whole ecosystem.
So they're like the building blocks.
Yeah, exactly. And it's important to remember that biomes are different from habitats.
Okay, so what's the distinction?
So a habitat is like the specific place where a certain species lives, you know?
Right.
But a biome is much broader.
Okay,
It encompasses many different habitats within it.
gotcha. So how can we tell one biome from another? I mean, is there some kind of secret code or something?
Not a secret code exactly, but scientists do use what are called climate diagrams.
Climate diagrams. What
Yeah.
are those like?
Well, they're basically a way to visualize a region's temperature and precipitation patterns.
Oh, so it's like a graph or something.
Yeah, it's like a cheat sheet for understanding what kind of biome we're dealing with.
Climate diagrams, nature's blueprints.
I like that.
All right, so time to meet the neighbors. How many of these terrestrial biomes are there?
Well, there are 9 main ones.
9.
Yeah, and we can group them into 3 main categories: tundra and taiga,
Okay.
temperate biomes,
Mm-hmm.
and tropical biomes.
Okay, so basically from the poles to the equator.
Exactly. Think of them as the cool kids,
Yeah.
the mild bunch, and the sun worshippers of the planet.
I love it. All right, let's start with those cool kids.
Okay.
The tundra and the taiga.
Right.
What makes those biomes so unique?
Well, the tundra is the most northern biome, found in Alaska, Canada's Siberia.
Brr, that sounds cold.
Oh, it is. Extremely cold temperatures, permafrost, which is permanently frozen soil,
Wow.
and a very, very short growing season.
Wow, that sounds harsh. What kind of plants can even survive in a place like that?
Well, you definitely won't find any trees.
No trees.
Nope. The permafrost prevents them from developing deep roots.
Ah,
So instead you'll see low-growing plants, mosses, lichens, small shrubs.
so they have to be tough.
Oh yeah, they have some amazing adaptations to deal with the cold and wind.
I bet. Now, you mentioned the taiga is like the tundra's slightly warmer cousin.
Yeah.
What's the taiga like?
Well, the taiga, also known as the boreal forest, is found just south of the tundra.
Okay.
And it stretches across huge areas of North America, Europe, and Asia. It's huge.
It's still pretty cold, especially in winter, but it does have a longer growing season than the tundra.
So longer growing season, more plants.
Yeah, exactly. The taiga is dominated by coniferous evergreen trees.
Like pine trees.
Yeah, spruce, fir, pine, all those, they have those needle-like leaves and that conical shape that helps them shed snow.
So smart. What about animals?
Oh yeah, tons of animals adapted to the cold.
Yeah.
Moose, wolves, lynx.
Wow. Okay, we've gone from freezing forests to rainforests. That's a big change.
It is.
Tell me about the temperate rainforests.
Well, temperate rainforests are just magical.
They sound it?
They're found in coastal regions with mild temperatures and tons of rainfall.
Oh, wow.
Think lush green forests with giant trees like redwoods.
Oh, yeah, the giant redwoods.
Yeah, those are amazing.
I've seen pictures. They're incredible. What else is cool about temperate rainforest?
Well, they have a lot of moisture, which makes it perfect for things like ferns, mosses, epiphytes.
Yeah.
They're plants that grow on other plants, but not as parasites.
And the forest floor is covered in this thick layer of decomposing stuff.
Sounds kind of gross.
It's not. It makes the soil super fertile.
Oh, wow. So much life.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've gone from freezing cold to cool and rainy.
Yeah.
What's next on our biome tour?
Next up, we're heading inland to the temperate seasonal forest.
Okay.
A biome that many of you are probably familiar with.
Temperate seasonal forest. Doesn't that just mean a forest that has 4 seasons?
Pretty much.
Okay, so warm summers, cold winters, moderate precipitation throughout the year.
You got it. Think of the forests in like the eastern US or Europe.
Right, with the beautiful fall colors.
Exactly.
Okay, but what about the trees? Are they different from the ones we saw in the taiga?
Yes,
Oh,
definitely. Temperate seasonal forests have deciduous trees,
deciduous.
which means they lose their leaves in the
Oh,
fall.
right, like oak, maple, beech, hickory trees.
Exactly. These forests also have a diverse understory of shrubs and wildflowers and ferns.
Wow, so many different plants.
And because of that, they support a lot of animals too. Deer, squirrels, birds, insects.
It's a party in the temperate seasonal forest.
It is.
Okay, so we've explored forests in cool and temperate climates.
Yep.
What else is out there?
Well, let's head to a place where things are a bit drier.
Drier. Okay.
Next on our journey is the shrubland, also known as woodland.
Shrubland.
Ah.
So is that like a forest, but not quite? What's the difference?
Well, shrublands are characterized by shrubs. They have hot, dry summers
Okay.
and mild, rainy winters.
Okay.
You'll find them in places like the Mediterranean, California, parts of Australia.
Gotcha.
And the plants there are adapted to survive those dry conditions.
Yeah, they'd have to be.
With like small, tough leaves and deep roots to get to that water.
Oh, interesting. So are there any trees in shrublands? Or is it just all shrubs?
You might find some scattered trees, but they're usually smaller and more like drought resistant than what we saw in the forests.
Okay, so what kind of trees?
I think like olive trees or cork oak trees in the Mediterranean.
Oh, yeah, okay. It seems like every biome has its own set of plants that are like perfectly adapted to the climate.
Right.
Nature is so cool.
It is.
What's next on the list?
Let's go to some wide open spaces. We're moving on to the temperate grassland, also called prairie or steppe.
Grassland, so no trees at all.
Pretty much. Temperate grasslands are characterized by well grasses.
Okay.
They have hot summers, cold winters, moderate rainfall.
Like the prairies.
Exactly. Or the steppes of Asia.
Right. My notes say that temperate grasslands can also be considered cold deserts.
Oh, yeah.
How is that possible? A grassland and a desert.
Haha. Well, it might seem strange,
It does.
but temperate grasslands do have some things in common with deserts.
Oh, like what?
Well, they both have low precipitation and these big temperature swings between summer and winter.
Yeah.
The main difference is the plants.
Okay.
In a grassland, it's mostly grasses, but in a desert, you'll find more like cacti and succulents.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So we've explored freezing tundra,
Yep.
lush rainforest.
Vast grasslands.
Right.
What other adventures await us on our biome tour?
Well, let's crank up the heat.
Oh, I like where this is going.
Let's head to the tropics. We're exploring the tropical rainforest next.
Ah, yes. The tropical rainforest. I've always wanted to see one.
They're incredible.
I can practically feel the humidity already. What makes tropical rainforests so special?
Well, they're incredibly diverse and complex ecosystems.
Right.
They're found near the equator where it's warm and rainy year-round.
Like all the time.
Pretty much.
Wow.
These forests have more species of plants and animals than any other biome on Earth.
That's amazing. But I've also heard that the soil in tropical rainforests is surprisingly poor.
Yeah, that's true.
How can a place with so much life have poor soil?
That's one of the paradoxes of the rainforest.
Huh.
Despite all that life, the soil is actually kind of nutrient poor.
Why?
Well, the warm, humid conditions make stuff decompose really fast, and then all those nutrients are quickly absorbed by the dense vegetation.
Oh, so it's like a constant competition for food? Exactly. It's a cycle of nutrient uptake and recycling.
Wow, nature is so resourceful.
It is.
Okay, so we've seen the super competitive rainforest. What's next on our tropical adventure?
Let's go to the savanna,
The savanna.
also known as the tropical seasonal forest,
Okay.
where we'll see some of the most iconic animals on the planet.
Like lions and zebras.
Exactly.
It's like stepping into a wildlife documentary.
I know.
What's the savanna like?
It's a grassland ecosystem with scattered trees and shrubs,
Okay.
and it's found in regions with warm temperatures year-round.
Okay.
But unlike the rainforest, the savanna has distinct wet and dry seasons,
Oh, interesting.
which has a huge impact on the plants and animals.
Yeah, I can imagine. So the dry season must be tough.
It is. Many animals migrate looking for water and food,
Oh, wow.
and the plants have those adaptations to survive drought.
So like what?
Deep roots, thick bark,
Okay.
and they can go dormant during dry spells.
Wow, that's incredible. So it's a biome shaped by constant change?
Absolutely.
Fascinating. Okay, we've explored so many incredible ecosystems,
Yeah, we have.
but we have one more biome to visit on our world tour,
Hmm,
the hot desert.
that's right. Let's journey to one of the driest places on Earth.
Ooh, I'm already thirsty just thinking about it.
Hmm.
What makes the hot desert so unique?
Well, hot deserts are found around 30 degrees north and south of the equator,
Okay.
and they are super dry,
Yeah, I bet.
very little rainfall,
Okay.
and the temperatures can be really extreme,
Like how extreme?
scorching hot during the day and freezing cold at night.
Oh, wow. Talk about a temperature swing. Only the toughest can survive there.
You're telling me.
So what kind of adaptations are we talking about
Well, desert plants often have thick, waxy
to
leaves.
prevent water loss?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And some animals are nocturnal.
Oh, so they sleep during the day.
Yep, and come out at night when it's cooler.
So smart. It's amazing how life finds a way, even in the most extreme places.
I know, it's incredible.
Well, we've explored so many different biomes today.
Yeah.
From the frozen tundra to the steamy rainforest to the arid desert.
Right, the journey.
It's clear that each biome is this unique and complex ecosystem with its own challenges and wonders.
Absolutely. And understanding them is key to understanding how our planet is all interconnected and how important it is to preserve biodiversity.
I totally agree. But there's one thing I'm still curious about.
Okay, what's that?
Are these biomes static or are they like always changing?
That's a great question. And it leads us to a super important topic.
Oh,
The impact of human activities on biomes.
that sounds like a perfect segue into our next segment.
It does. So yeah, before the break, we were talking about how human activities, are impacting biomes all over the world.
Yeah, it is a little bit sobering to think that like our actions can actually change entire ecosystems.
Yeah, it's true.
So what are some of the like main ways that humans are impacting these biomes we've been learning about?
Well, one of the biggest is definitely climate change.
Climate change, right?
As global temperatures rise and precipitation patterns shift, we're seeing all these changes in plant and animal communities.
Okay.
And even like shifts in those biome boundaries.
Oh, wow. So like some areas that were once forests are now becoming grasslands or something?
Exactly. And it's not just about the warming temperatures themselves.
Right.
It's about like the domino effect it has on the whole ecosystem.
Yeah, all those knock-on effects.
Another big one is deforestation.
Deforestation, yeah.
Humans are clearing forests for agriculture and logging and development at like an alarming rate.
It's scary to think about.
This loss of forest cover has huge consequences.
Like what?
Well, there's habitat loss, soil erosion, decreased biodiversity.
It's almost like we're redrawing the map of the world's
Yeah.
biomes without even realizing it.
Yeah, you could say that. And then there's the introduction of invasive species.
Invasive species, right? I've heard about those.
These are species that are introduced to an ecosystem where they don't naturally belong, and they can often outcompete native species, which really messes up the balance of the ecosystem.
So can you give us like a specific example of this?
Yeah, so for example, there's cheatgrass.
Cheatgrass.
Yeah, it's been introduced into the temperate grasslands of North America.
Right?
And it's highly flammable, and it has spread really rapidly, which has increased wildfires.
Oh, wow. That's not good.
No, it's altered the composition of the grasslands, making it harder for native plants to survive.
It's like one change leads to another and another and
Yeah,
another.
it's a domino effect.
And eventually the whole ecosystem is like completely different.
Exactly.
So what are the consequences of all this, these human impacts on biomes?
Well, we're seeing declines in biodiversity,
Okay.
disruptions to ecosystem services like pollination and water purification,
Right.
and even like increased risks of natural disasters, floods, wildfires.
It's a lot.
It is.
So it sounds like understanding the human impact on biomes is crucial, not just for like the AP exam, but for understanding the health of our planet.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about recognizing that we're a part of these ecosystems,
Right.
and our choices have consequences.
Absolutely. So speaking of choices, let's talk about conservation efforts.
Right.
What are some things that are being done to protect these biomes,
Well, one important strategy is creating protected areas.
like national parks?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. National parks, wildlife refuges.
Okay.
These areas provide safe havens for biodiversity and help to preserve those ecosystem functions.
So it's like setting aside a part of each biome to keep it safe.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. What else can we do besides protected areas?
Yeah, what else can we do?
Well, sustainable land management practices are key.
Okay.
This includes things like responsible forestry,
Okay.
promoting agricultural techniques that minimize soil erosion and water pollution,
Right.
and of course, reducing our reliance on fossil fuels to mitigate climate change.
So it's not just about protecting those like pristine areas. It's about changing our everyday actions to be more mindful of our impact.
Exactly. Every choice we make, Yeah.
From the food we eat to the products we buy to how we get around can impact biomes all over the world.
It really is all connected, isn't it?
It is.
It's a lot to take in, but it's also pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is.
But the good news is that by understanding these connections and by taking action to protect these biomes,
Right.
we can help ensure a healthier, more sustainable future for everyone.
Exactly. And that includes doing well on that AP Environmental Science exam.
Okay, speaking of the exam,
Yeah.
do you have any specific tips for students who are trying to master this whole biomes concept?
Absolutely. When you're studying biomes, don't just try to memorize the names and locations.
Okay,
Focus on understanding like the key characteristics that define each biome.
okay.
So like the climate. Yeah, the climate, the dominant vegetation,
Yeah.
the adaptations of the plants and animals that live there.
So it's not just about knowing that a tundra is cold,
Right.
it's about understanding why it's cold and how that shapes the entire ecosystem.
You got it. Another tip is to practice interpreting those climate diagrams, right? Those blueprints.
Exactly. Being able to analyze those temperature and precipitation patterns is key to understanding how biomes are classified
Okay,
and how they might be affected by climate change.
makes sense. And don't forget about the human impact.
Of course not.
Being able to talk about specific examples of how deforestation, pollution, invasive species are changing biomes is super important.
Absolutely. Remember, biomes are dynamic systems.
Right.
They're always changing in response to both natural and human-induced changes.
So it's all about understanding how it all fits together.
Exactly.
So thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of biomes.
It's been my pleasure.
And we'll see you next time for another fascinating deep dive into the world of environmental science.
See ya!